The spare key to my car sits in a blue ceramic bowl by my door, bright as a dare. Most mornings I grab my travel mug, sling my stethoscope, and ignore it. Today, I stare until my coffee goes cold. My name is Jennifer. I'm 29, and I work the early shift as a medical assistant at a community clinic in Fort Lauderdale. I rent a small one-bedroom off Broward Boulevard, second-floor walk-up, windows that face a parking lot, and a silver 2012 Civic I've babied through a decade of Florida sun. I'm usually unlocking the clinic by 5:45 a.m., drawing labs by 6:15, done by mid-afternoon. It suits me. Early, quiet, predictable tasks, charts lined up in the same order every day. I'm reliable until someone treats that like a blank check. My younger sister, Grace, is 24. She's a salon receptionist with hours that move around, a single mom to Lucy, who turned 2 in May. Grace lives 10 minutes away with Lucy and a mountain of toddler laundry. Our mom, June, is 55 and 15 minutes past, believing every problem can be smoothed with a favor and a plate of something. We are close in that loud, overlapping way where "I'll help" sometimes quietly becomes "I'll fix." The spare key started as a good idea. Just in case turned into "I'll grab it for daycare pickup" and "I'll drop mom's prescriptions." And I let it slide because that felt like love. Lately, it's been my car disappearing before dawn and reappearing after I'm home. Full tank most of the time, crumbs in the seat, Lucy's stuffed giraffe wedged under the backrest. I've avoided a fight I could feel vibrating under everything. The key stayed in the bowl like an invitation. I get the envelope on a Tuesday at 2:30 p.m., the mail wedged crooked in my metal box downstairs. Thick, official, return address from SunPass toll-by plate and the City of Fort Lauderdale's red light enforcement office. On my kitchen table, I break the seal with my thumbnail and pull out 3 sheets, 2 toll notices totaling $212, and 1 red light citation for 168. The dates are from the last 2 weeks, weekdays when I was in scrubs at a phlebotomy chair at 6:15 a.m. There are photos with each, blurry plates that are, unmistakably, my plates. A tiny shot of my front bumper at a toll gantry at 7:42 a.m. Another with the timestamp. I know I was showing a kid how to breathe through a blood draw. The red light frame freeze, right turn on red without a full stop, sits there like a trap door. My chest tightens the way it does when a patient's veins roll under my needle and I have to reset everything and breathe. I call Mom first because that's what I do. She answers on the second ring like she was already holding the phone. "Hey, baby," she says. "You sound tight." "I got tolls and a red light ticket," I say. $380. I wasn't driving. She doesn't ask who was. She doesn't have to. "Just pay it to keep things simple," she says, automatic as turning on a light. "You know how Grace is. That salon makes her jump all over, and daycare. Lucy gets fussy when they're late." "Simple for who?" I ask. My voice comes out steady, which surprises me. "For all of us." She sighs. "It's family. Family as a reason and not a conversation." That old pinch in my chest tightens. "I'm not paying these," I say, and I hear the quiet on her end grow cold and careful. "Don't start," she says, soft warning. "I'll bring Grace over tonight. We'll figure it out." After we hang up, I pull the citations closer and open my laptop. I log into my SunPass account and see the drives, weekday morning trips I didn't take. I take pictures of the paper notices with my phone, then download the electronic copies too. I scroll through the images until I hit the frames with my license plate and the timestamps. I save everything in a folder labeled Car June, because I need to be able to find it fast when my adrenaline is high. I text Grace. "Can you come by tonight at 7? It's about the car." She replies 5 minutes later. "I'm at work till 6:30. Can Lucy come?" Then, what car? That second text makes my jaw clench. "Yes, bring Lucy." I type back. "You know what car." I rinse my mug, set it upside down on the rack, and walk back to the bowl by the door. The key's shape is familiar against my palm. The rubber head softened from years of my hand. I put it back and roll the combination on the lock I've been meaning to install on a little wall safe I impulsively bought last month and never mounted. My hand pauses. Not yet. I want a conversation before I start drilling into walls. By 4 p.m., the late light is sliding across my table, and the fines sit there like a third-place setting. I text my co-worker, Shanice. She's 32, practical in the way that makes everything feel doable, and tell her I might be asking her about forms tomorrow. She sends back a string of gavel emojis and, "Bring receipts." "I'm bringing receipts," I write back, and I mean it. Digital ones. At 6:50 p.m., I put bowls and forks on the table because feeding people keeps me from pacing. I make spaghetti with jarred sauce and slice a cucumber like it's a job. I put Lucy's old sippy cup at the corner of the table because I've picked it up from my floor enough times to know it's easier to be ready. When their knock comes right at 7, I'm ready in a way I haven't been before. Mom steps in first with a tight smile. Grace follows, Lucy on her hip, and my eyes go to the bowl by the door and then to the envelope on the table. I take a breath that reaches all the way down. Tonight, I'm not the plan. I'm the person who keeps records. June comes in with a Tupperware of cookies wrapped in a dish towel like sugar can mop up a mess. Grace shifts Lucy to her other hip and kicks her flip-flops off at the door like it's any other Tuesday, like my car isn't the third person in the room. "Hi, baby," Mom says, kissing my cheek. Her eyes dart to the envelope on the table. "We brought snickerdoodles." "Hey," Grace says, bright and a little breathless. "Lucy, say hi to Aunt Jen." Lucy buries her face in Grace's shoulder and peeks at me with one eye. I step back to let them in. The blue bowl with the spare key is right there on the entry table. I keep my hands to myself. We do the small talk dance for maybe a minute. Daycare nap schedule, the heat, Mom's basil plant clinging to life. Then Mom slips a manila folder out of her tote and slides a sheet across my table. It's printed from a template, boxes and lines and payment plan centered at the top. Under Responsible Party is my full name in Mom's careful block letters. "I thought we could make this easy," she says, gentle. "We mapped it out so it doesn't hit all at once." The fork in my hand feels heavier than it should. "My name's on this," I say. "You can afford a little every paycheck?" she says quickly, eyes soft like that will soften me too. You know Grace's hours are a mess right now. Grace sets Lucy down and carries the cookies into my kitchen. I hear the Tupperware lid pop and Mom's voice drop low. I turn to grab napkins, and their words float through the doorway like they meant them to stay in the kitchen. "She's never said no! She'll pay the tickets!" Mom whispers. "I know," Grace says, softer. Then, "I'm sorry, The sorry is the size of a breath. I put the napkins down and take my phone from the counter. "Let's sit," I say, and we all move back to the table. Lucy climbs onto a chair, bangs both palms on the wood, then reaches for a cookie. I hand her a napkin and put water in the sippy cup I left out. I open the folder on my phone I named earlier and tap. The first toll photo fills the screen, the time-stamp strip along the bottom. 7:42 a.m., last Wednesday. There's a small rectangle of my windshield, a sliver of rearview mirror. In the mirror, a reflection, big round lenses I've rolled my eyes at 100 times. I turn the phone toward them. Those are Grace's sunglasses, Mom. The air drops out of the room. Mom's mouth folds in on itself. Grace lets out a laugh that pitches too high and edges into a cough. It's just... She starts, then tries again. It's just family, Jen. On the next swipe, Lucy's car seat sits in the back, unmistakable, grey with little stars, the strap that always twists unless I fix it. The third photo shows my cup holder. The chipped floral mug that lives by Grace's sink is sitting there, lipstick at the rim, chip catching the light. I don't say anything about that one. I don't need to. Mom presses her fingertips to the paper with my name on it like she's smoothing a wrinkle. We're not arguing about what happened, she says carefully. We're talking about how to make it right without making a big thing. I was at work when these happened, I say. You can call Dr. Patel and ask if you want. I was drawing labs at 6:15 both those mornings. I didn't run a red light. I didn't take a toll road. Grace's mouth tilts into a familiar shape, half embarrassed, half charmed. You know I wouldn't do this if I had a choice, she says. Daycare charges if I'm late, and buses are a mess, and my Uber rating is trash because of Lucy's snacks. I thought you'd... Pay, I say, not a question. She lifts one shoulder. It's just family. I slide the payment plan back toward them, exactly the way Mom slid it to me. The page scratches against the wood. I keep my pen capped on the table between us. I'm not signing anything with my name on it for fines I didn't get, I say, still calm, because I practiced saying it to my shower tile earlier. I'm not paying these. Mom's face tightens in the places that usually soften. Jennifer, she says, like we're crossing a line we can't uncross. Don't make this bigger than it needs to be. It got big when my car started leaving before dawn without me, I say. It got big when my name and plates showed up on tickets I didn't earn. I tap my phone. I brought the photos because I don't want this to be about feelings. It's about what happened. Grace reaches for a cookie and doesn't eat it. Lucy licks sugar off her fingers and hums, oblivious. The bowl by the door catches the light, and I see the dull shine of the rubber key head. What do you want, then? Grace asks, but it sounds like a challenge. Responsibility in the right name, I say. That's it. Mom sighs like air leaving a balloon. She pulls the paper back the rest of the way, folds it once, then again. For a second I think she'll slide it back anyway. She doesn't. I keep my pen capped. I wake up before my alarm, the kind of wired that feels like I drank coffee in my sleep. The bowl by the door holds the car key and looks like it's staring back at me. I grab my mug, grab my badge, and leave it there. At 5:45 a.m., I'm unlocking the clinic like always, the hallway lights popping on in a slow wave. By lunch, I've replayed last night, enough times that it's made a groove in my head. I find Shanice in the break room with her yogurt and her crossword and drop into the chair across from her. How'd it go? She asks without looking up. They brought a payment plan with my name filled in. I say, I brought photos. Shanice lets out a low whistle. Okay, receipts. What do we need to do next? I slide my phone across to her with the email from SunPass open. They have an affidavit to transfer liability if I wasn't the driver. She squints at the link, taps. Affidavit of non-ownership chucked not in care or control, she reads. And the red light one has an affidavit too. You'll need to name the driver and attach proofs. She points to the little line that says, must be notarized. We can print these. There's a notary at the UPS on Sunrise. You off by 2? 2:30, I say. I can swing by after. We commandeer the clinic printer for 10 minutes. I fill out the forms at the table where we usually do staff potlucks, writing slowly, dates, times, my plate number. I attach the download of the photos to the red light email portal, double-check the timestamps against my shift schedule. I list Grace as the driver because that's what happened. My hands are steady now that there are boxes to fill. Cancel your SunPass too, Shanice says around a spoonful of yogurt. If she tries a toll again, it hits toll by plate and not your account. I log in and hit deactivate on the little transponder number stuck to my windshield. Done. And if you're feeling extra, make an appointment at the tax collector to get a new plate number. She adds, people do it when they think their plate's compromised. Costs what, $30? I Google while the last form prints. Broward County Tax Collector. Next available is in 2 weeks at the 3:10 slot. I click it. Booked. Shanice bumps my knee with hers. There you go. Paper trail. Boundaries with teeth. After I clock out at 2:30, I swing by the UPS store. The notary stamp thunks down twice. Blue ink, neat initials. I keep all of it in a fresh manila folder like I'm building a little fence made of paper. In the parking lot, I text the family group chat. Spare key due today. I'm not lending my car or signing anything again. Then, because I know how my words get turned into tone, I add, I can help with scheduled rides after my shift. Mom replies with 3 dots in a row. Then, we hear you. Grace doesn't respond. On the way home, I stop at the hardware store for a small lockbox, the kind realtors use for house keys. I pick the cheap grey one because it looks like it means business without looking like a jail. I buy a set of wall anchors and a little screwdriver because mine keeps disappearing. My apartment hallway smells like someone overcooked onions. When I turn the corner, I see it before I see my door. A black lanyard and a key lying on my welcome mat. The rubber head is familiar, old groove worn by my thumb. No note. For a second I just stand there with my grocery bag and the lockbox, feeling the heat crawl back up my neck. I pick it up and turn it over. It's my spare. Same little blue bead I threaded on years ago so I could find it by feel. Either Grace took it when she left last night, or she had it all day. Leaving it on the mat feels like a confession and a dare. Inside, I lock my deadbolt. I take the lockbox into the hall closet and mount it to the stud with 2 screws, the metal biting into wood with a reassuring squeal. I take my time. I set the combination to Lucy's birthday so I won't forget it, and so I won't be tempted to hand it out. I slide the spare key inside and shut the door. Click. I text the group again. Got the key. Please don't leave it on the floor. I'll put it away. Mom sends, okay. Then, dinner Sunday. Maybe. I type back. I'll let you know after I see my schedule. I sit on the rug with the manila folder and flip through the forms one more time. Dates match. Photos attached. transponder deactivated. DMV appointment set. It feels small and huge at the same time, like tightening a bolt that's been loose for months and not realizing how much rattling it was doing until it stops. When I stand, the blue bowl by the door is empty except for 2 pennies and a paperclip. I wash it and put it back anyway. Just a bowl now. No more invitations. The next morning I'm halfway through organizing flu shot consent forms when my phone buzzes against the counter. Grace. I let it go to voicemail because I'm drawing labs, then step outside to the alley behind the clinic on my 10-minute break and call back. Wind whips through the phone. "I'm in the salon lot," she says without hello. "Can I grab your car for a few hours? Daycare is strict about pickup and the bus is already late." "No," I say, steady. "I'm not lending the car." Silence tightens. "Jen, please. They charge $1 a minute after 6. I can't afford that." "I can pick up Lucy today if you add me to your authorized list," I say. "I'm done at 2:30. I can be at daycare by 3:15. I can also send you the Broward transit routes, 22 runs straight down Broward." "I can't do buses with a toddler and the stroller and my bag," she snaps. "You know this." "I hear you," I say. "I can do a ride after my shift. I can't hand over the car." She exhales like she's trying to blow my answer over. "You don't get it." "I don't have anyone else." "You have me," I say. "For rides we schedule." "I need it now," she says. "It's just family." The words slide between us and sit there. I look at the dumpster lid and the way the sun hits the rim. "I'm at work," I say. "Text me Lucy's daycare info. I'll go by at 3:15. She comes back softer, bargaining. "Could we just split the fines and call it even? I'll pay you back when tips are good." "I'm not paying fines I didn't get," I say. "If you want a ride today, tell the daycare to add me." She hangs up without answering. Back inside, I wash my hands twice and focus on labels and lot numbers because those don't care how I feel. At noon, I grab a sandwich and sit in the sliver of shade by the clinic door. I pull up the Broward County Transit site and screenshot the Route 22 timetable that runs by both our complexes. I add Route 1 that hits the strip where her salon is. I text them to Grace with, "If you leave at 5:05, you'll be at daycare by 5:40. I can still do pickup at 3:15 if you add me." She doesn't respond. 5 minutes later, Mom calls. "Your sister is crying in the break room," Mom says without preface. "You couldn't just help this week." "I offered," I say. "After my shift. I can pick up Lucy today if Grace adds me." "You're making this bigger than it needs to be," she says, soft and insistent. "Just drop the key off, Jennifer. After this weekend, we'll figure a system." "It got big when tickets showed up in my name," I say. "I'm not lending the car." Mom's sigh crackles through the speaker. "I raised you to take care of each other." "You did," I say. "I'm taking care of me, too." There's a pause, the kind where I know she's choosing between arguing or hanging up. "Dinner, Sunday," she says finally, like a truce. "Let's talk then." "Maybe," I say. "I'll check my schedule." When my shift ends, I stop by the dollar store on the way home and buy a small spiral notebook and a pack of pens that claim they don't smear. At my kitchen table, I crack it open to the first page and write the date in the corner. I keep it simple. Ask, can do, can't do, can't. I write yesterday. Tickets, asked me to pay, no. Rides after 2:30 p.m., yes, if scheduled. Car, lend, no. Today, daycare pickup, yes, offered 3:15, waiting on authorization. Seeing it in ink settles something. It's not a fight, it's a list. Grace finally texts at 2:05. Fine, you're on the list. They need your ID. On my way, I reply, and grab my keys. At the daycare, a young woman in a polo checks my license against a printed sheet. She underlines my name with a pink highlighter and says, "Sign here," like I've been on the list for months. Lucy barrels into me with sticky hands and a shout of, "Jen!" that knocks the hard edges off my day. We drive home with her, narrating every dog we see and counting stoplights to 4, and then back to 1. At 4:10, Grace shows up, hair frizzing from the humidity, eyes still shiny. She takes Lucy and says, "Thanks," small and quick, like if she says more she'll say the wrong thing. "Tomorrow I can do the same," I say, "if you need it, but I can't." "I know," she says, looking everywhere but my face. "I know." After they leave, I jot it in the notebook. Picked up Lucy, 3 Palmerton, 15. Yes. I write my own offers for the next few days. Thursday, free after 2:30. Friday, clinic meeting till 3:30. Can do 4 more pickup. I'm rinsing out Lucy's sippy cup when my laptop dings. An email lands from Toll by Plate. Affidavit approved. Liability reassigned. I click it open. It's short and boring. "We processed your affidavit. Future correspondence will be directed to the named party." A second email from the red light vendor follows a minute later with almost the same language and an attached PDF confirming the switch. I sit down and let the sound of my own exhale fill the room. Paperwork, not punishment. Consequences lined up with where they belong. I slide the printouts into the manila folder and write another line in the notebook. Affidavits approved. The blue bowl by the door is clean and empty, my lockbox hidden in the closet clicking comfort into the wood. My phone buzzes again, Mom texting a string of dots that mean she's composing a paragraph she hasn't found yet. I put the phone face down and look at my list. What I can do. What I can't. It's not complicated, it's just different. 2 weeks slide by in small, ordinary squares. I keep my early mornings and my notebook. Grace texts ahead twice for daycare pickups. I put them on my calendar and show up at 3:15 with Lucy's sippy cup ready. Once I drop groceries on Mom's porch on a Thursday after work, and she hugs me longer than usual without saying anything about money. Last week I took my 3:10 appointment at the tax collector office and swapped my plates, $32 and a screwdriver in the parking lot to switch the actual metal. New number, same car. The lockbox in my closet clicks shut every time I put the spare away. On a Tuesday, just after noon, my phone buzzes 5 times in a row while I'm restocking gauze. Mom, then Grace, then Mom again. I wait until my break to call back. "Baby," Mom says, voice already strained. "Your sister tried to renew her tag and there's a hold. They won't let her do it online. They're saying tolls and—" She lowers her voice like the phone could be offended. "Camera stuff." I sit on the bench in the alley and press my hand to the cool cinder block. "That's what happens when the fines aren't paid," I say. "The affidavits went through. The hold would be in her name now." "She's crying in the bathroom at work," Mom says. "Can you just—" "I can give her a ride to the DMV after my shift," I say. "I'm off at 2:30. Payment is on Grace." Silence stretches. I can hear the TV in Mom's house in the background, some courtroom show droning. "You really won't," she starts. No, I say. I won't. Mom sighs, defeated and a little angry. I'll tell her you'll take her. When I hang up, I find Shanice by the med fridge. She sees my face and hands me a granola bar before I ask. What's the latest? She says. Grace tried to renew her registration. Hold, I say. I offered a ride after work, that's all. Shanice nods, approving. Consequences aren't cruelty, she says, same tone she uses when reminding me to cap needles. You're not leaving her stranded. You're not paying for her bad turns on red. I keep thinking about Lucy's car seat, I admit. How all this still lands on the floor of a toddler's life. It lands on the adults who can fix it, she says, pointed but kind. A payment plan in her name keeps you from drowning. That helps Lucy too. I tuck the granola bar into my pocket anyway. It's a small thing that makes me feel prepared. At 1:40, my phone buzzes again. Grace, this time. They won't let me do it online. It says I have to go in person. Is this because of what you did? I type carefully. Because of the tickets. Liability is in your name now. I can drive you to the DMV after work. Bring your license, proof of insurance, and a card. She doesn't write back. 10 minutes later, Mom calls again, just to repeat herself, and I repeat myself back, a calm loop. At 2:30, I clock out and grab my bag. I keep my wallet in it, zippered. On the way to Grace's, I hit traffic on Broward and sit behind a bus with an ad for the very toll authority that sent me the email. I laugh once, sharp, and it bounces off my dashboard. Grace is waiting outside her complex with her hair piled up and her mouth set like a dare. She gets in and doesn't look at me. You're really going to make me do this? She says, staring through my windshield like the answer is somewhere down the block. I'm going to drive, I say. You're going to talk to the clerk and set up whatever you need to set up. That's the help I can give. Her jaw ticks. It's just family, she says, but quieter this time, less certain. It's still my name when things go wrong, I say. Not anymore. We don't talk much on the way. The government center lot is half full, the sun turning everyone's dashboard into an oven. Inside, the fluorescent lights flatten everything, and the air smells like old plastic and paper. We take a number from the red dispenser, A405, and sit in chairs that are all the same shade of beige. Grace scrolls her phone, sighs, puts it down, picks it up. She cycles through angry, quiet, pleading without saying much out loud. I take out the granola bar and eat it slowly, focusing on chewing, on the numbers blinking above the counters, on not filling the space with apologies. She tries once more. We can split it and I'll pay you back, she says, eyes on the floor. I'm not splitting, I say. I'm here. That's my part. She leans back, arms crossed, blinking too fast. My stomach twists and untwists, thinking of Lucy's little shoes lined up by their door, the car seat strap that always flips. I breathe and look at the board. A4I1, A402, A403. My phone buzzes in my pocket. Shanice. You got this. I picture her thumbs up and keep my eyes on the blinking numbers. A405 flashes, and we stand. Grace looks at me like the floor might open. I gesture toward the counter. Let's go, I say. After work was the only time I could help. She nods once, and we walk to the window together. We follow the arrows on the floor toward the A numbers, past a sign about Real ID, and another about debit card fees. The board says A405 and points to window 7, but the clerk there is finishing with a man who brought a stack of papers in a rubber band. We hover behind the blue line and don't quite look at each other. "Do you have your proof of insurance?" I ask, keeping my voice low. Grace digs in her purse, eyes flicking. "Yeah," she says, pulling out a folded card and her license. She bites a nail, then stops herself. "I hate these places." "Me too," I say because it's true. My phone buzzes in my pocket. Mom. I flip it to Do Not Disturb and slide it back in. Grace's phone buzzes too. She doesn't look. The room feels sticky with people's impatience. A toddler somewhere is chanting 1, 2, 3, 4, like he's discovered the only 4 numbers in the world. A woman in a bright flowered dress is practicing writing her new last name on an envelope. A guy in a construction shirt argues quietly with a clerk about late fees. The fluorescent lights hum. It all makes me feel small and steady at the same time. Just another person waiting her turn to do a bureaucratic thing. Grace shifts her weight from one foot to the other. "I can't drive if my tag's expired," she says, voice tight. "How am I supposed to get Lucy anywhere?" "You can drive when you get current," I say. "That's why we're here." She gives me a sideways look. "You could have just taken care of it this once. We didn't have to do all this." I keep my eyes on the counter, not on her. "After work was the only time I could help," I say. "This is me helping." "You're punishing me," she says, not quite accusing, more like she's trying the words on. "I'm protecting me," I say. I don't elaborate. Anything more will spiral us into the same loops we always run. She looks down at her hands. The chip in her thumbnail catches on her crossbody strap and snaps. She swears under her breath. My phone buzzes again despite D&D. It's Shanice's. "You got this," from earlier, and somehow it still makes my shoulders drop a notch. I send a quick thumbs up back and tuck the phone away. The clerk at window 7, a woman with neat braids and a navy polo, slides the last paper through to the rubber band man and presses a square stamp that thunks satisfyingly. She looks up, her face neutral and kind of bored in a way that feels like a relief. No one here is going to take sides. She flips the light above her window from red to green. "Next!" she calls, and we step up to the blue tape line. Grace starts before the clerk even finishes saying hello. I tried to renew my tag online, and it says there's a hold, and I need to come here, and I don't know why. The clerk points at the small sign that says, "Please have ID ready," and smiles just enough to show she's a person, not a rule. "I'll pull up your record. License, please," she says. Her name tag is turned a little. I can't see the name yet. She types something fast and looks at the screen. "Okay. Looks like there are outstanding toll violations and a red light citation attached to your plate. There's a registration hold until those are addressed." Grace's jaw tightens. "Those cameras are unfair," she says immediately. "Half the time the yellows are too short and anyone would roll that turn." The clerk keeps her tone even. "I can't speak to camera placement," she says. "I can tell you what's in the system and what options you have." I take one small step back, so I'm not in the center of the conversation. I'm close enough to hear, far enough that no one will look at me to answer. The clerk taps the keyboard. "So, for the tolls, you can pay them in full today or set up a payment plan. For the red light, same. There's a fine and a processing fee. Once there's either payment or an approved plan, we can release the hold and you can renew your registration." Grace slides her insurance card and license across, like they're excuses. It wasn't even my car most days, she says, softer now, almost to herself. The clock turns her screen slightly toward her, not enough to show everything, just enough to indicate she's not hiding it. She clicks, and a small image window pops up. Even at the distance, I know what those frames look like. The mirror, the sunglasses, the mug. The clerk's voice stays level. These are the citations we have. Do you want to make a payment today? Grace looks at me then, quick, instinctive, as if there's a script we've always followed and she's waiting for me to say my line. I keep my face open and calm. This is your part, I say, as gently as I can. I drove you. I'm here. She swallows and looks back at the counter. Can I do a plan? She asks the clerk, almost like she's asking if that's allowed. You can, the clerk says, already pulling a thin stack of forms from a clear organizer. We'll need your address, email, and a card for the initial payment. The rest will be auto-drafted monthly. Grace fumbles for her wallet. The zipper sticks. She tugs until it gives, and the sound is loud in the quiet. My phone buzzes again in my pocket. Mom. I don't look. I focus on breathing in for 4, out for 4, on the way the air conditioning blows from the vent above the window and lifts a strand of hair from Grace's forehead. The clerk slides a pen across, points where to sign. Grace writes her name slow. Her handwriting looks young when she's trying to be neat. She glances up like she's going to say something to me and then doesn't. We're 2 steps in, and the rest is going to be whatever the forms say it is. I keep my hands at my sides and my wallet in my bag and remind myself softly that after work was the only time I could help. The board dings again behind us, numbers changing. Window 7's light glows green, steady. The name tag shifts when the clerk bends to pull another form, and I catch it for the first time. Aaliyah. Aaliyah turns the monitor a degree toward us, professional and calm. I'm going to read you what I see, she says. 2 outstanding toll-by-plate violations totaling $212 and 1 red light camera citation for $168. There's also a processing fee for the plan if you choose that route. Grace exhales through her nose, small and sharp. Those cameras are a scam, she mutters, but quieter than before. Aaliyah nods like she's heard it 1,000 times without taking it personally. She taps, then clicks a thumbnail and brings up a grainy still. She doesn't editorialize. She just uses her pen to indicate the corners of the image. This is the red light citation. Timestamp is here. She taps the strip at the bottom. That's the turn line. And in the mirror, there. The reflection shows the oversized round lenses I know. On the second image, the car seat strap that always flips sits crooked. On the third, the mug with the chip flashes in my cup holder. Aaliyah's finger moves from the picture to the bolded amount due on her screen. Those are the balances. I make myself keep my face soft. I'm not here to say I told you so. I'm here so I stop being the person who quietly pays and pretends it's nothing. I shift half a step back and let the counter hold all the weight. What's the plan look like? Grace asks finally. For the tolls, Aaliyah says, pulling out a thin form. We can do a payment agreement with 25% down today, then monthly drafts until the balance is paid. The red light citation can be combined with a separate plan or paid today. She slides the paper across with a pen clipped to the top. Initial here to confirm you're the responsible party. Sign at the bottom. The words land. Responsible party. Grace's hand wobbles. She signs anyway. Her handwriting is careful and too round. Card for the initial payment, Aaliyah says. Grace pulls a scuffed debit card out of her wallet and hands it over. Aaliyah keys the amount and turns the little screen our way. It reads, initial payment 95 $, processing fee 3 $, total 98 $. Grace bites her lip and taps her pin. The machine thinks for a beat too long. Come on, Grace whispers to it, as if that helps. For a second the screen flashes red and my stomach flips and wants to do the old thing. Reach for my wallet. Fix it. Make it go away. I keep my hands at my sides. The machine chirps and turns green. Approved. Aaliyah doesn't flinch. She just prints a receipt and attaches a copy of the plan. Okay, she says, efficient and kind. That sets the tolls. For the red light citation, same options apply. If you add it to the plan, the down today is the same percentage, and it extends the schedule by 1 month. If you pay it in full, the hold comes off immediately. Grace swallows. How much to pay it today? 168, Aaliyah says, already ready with the second slip. Grace looks at me the way you look at a person you've always used as your safety net, without asking if they were made for that. I don't say anything. I just meet her eyes and then look at the slip. She digs around in her purse and pulls out a different card, the one with a scratch across the front. She taps it, hesitates, then inserts it. The terminal beeps. Another long pause. Approved. Aaliyah stamps 2 places, and the thunks feel like a door closing carefully instead of slamming. I've released the hold, she says, cursor moving. Do you want to renew your registration today as well? Grace nods, small. Yeah. Standard renewal plus late fee, Aaliyah recites. Total is 68. She processes it like she's done it 1,000,000 times, because she has. A sticker decal slides from a little printer with our county outline on it. She circles the expiration month with a pen and hands it across with the receipts. This goes on your plate. Clean the corner before you stick it so it doesn't curl. Grace takes it like it might bite. Thanks, she says, voice thin. Aaliyah looks between us without curiosity, then back to her screen. You're all set. Next. We step away from the window into the hum of the room. Grace gathers the papers like they're heavier than they should be. Outside, the sun hits us square. The asphalt radiates heat up through our shoes. We don't talk until we're at my car. Grace stands on the passenger side and stares at the decal in her hand. I thought you'd cover me like always, she says, not accusing, just saying it out loud to see how it sounds in the air. I can't be the plan anymore, I say. I can help, but I'm not the plan. She nods once, like the word lands and lodges. She reaches into her bag and pulls out the black lanyard I've seen 100 times with the little blue bead I threaded years ago so I could find the spare by feel. The key ring is empty now. She holds it up 1/2 inch like muscle memory is stronger than facts, then looks at the bare metal circle and huffs one short laugh. Right, she says, and drops it back into her purse. We both look at my closed glove box, and I think about the lockbox at home, the click of it settling into wood. I unlock the doors and we climb in. My phone pings as it reconnects. A few messages roll in. Missed call. Mom. Then a text. Dinner Sunday? We should talk. I don't answer yet. I drive Grace back to her place in the kind of quiet that isn't a fight, just a space we both have to learn how to cross without shortcuts. When I pull up to the curb, she gathers the paperwork and the decal and rests her hand on the door handle. "Thanks for the ride," she says. "You're welcome," I say. "Text me if you want me to watch Lucy while you stick that on." She nods, then gets out. In my rear view, I see her stand in the sun for a second, then head toward her building with the stack of papers against her chest like a shield. I take a breath that feels like it has somewhere to go and switch my phone out of Do Not Disturb. The last text from Mom sits at the top, patient. I tap the screen off and drive home. Sunday smells like spaghetti and garlic. I park by Mom's curb and carry in a bag of salad and a loaf of bread. The TV hums low in the living room, some nature show with soft narration, and Lucy is at the table in a booster, already orange with sauce and very proud of it. "Hi, baby," Mom says, wiping her hands on a dish towel. She kisses my cheek and points me toward a bowl to toss the salad. On the counter there's a stack of paper plates and the Tupperware of snickerdoodles from earlier in the week, one corner already open. Grace is at the sink running water over a colander of noodles. She glances up, then back down. "Hey," she says. "Hey," I say. I set the bread on a cutting board and start slicing, each piece even because even feels good right now. We eat first because we're not maniacs. Lucy declares the spaghetti noodles long and offers me one like a worm. Mom keeps the TV low enough to be polite. The ceiling fan clicks in that one spot it always clicks. After plates are mostly empty and Lucy is tired of sitting still, Mom hands her a crayon and a placemat and gives me a look that means, now. "I want to talk about what I can do," I say, palms flat on the table. "And what I can't." Mom nods, eyes on my hands instead of my face. "Go ahead." "I can do rides if we schedule them," I say. "If you need groceries, I can do Thursday after work. If Lucy needs pickup, I can do it most days at 3:15 as long as I know by noon the day before. But I'm not lending my car, and I'm not signing for anything that isn't mine." Grace stares at the last piece of bread like she's reading it. "Okay," she says, quiet. "I added the red light to the plan and paid what I had to pay. The auto drafts start next month." "Good," I say. "That keeps your registration clean." Mom folds a paper towel into smaller and smaller squares. "I shouldn't have put your name on that paper," she says finally, not quite looking at me. I don't know what I thought. I just wanted it to not be a fight. "It was already a fight," I say. "It just wasn't loud." She lets out a breath. "I don't like all the keeping track," she says, waving a hand at nothing. "It feels cold." "It's a schedule," I say. I pull my little spiral from my bag, more for me than for them. It keeps me from guessing and getting mad. It makes sure I show up when I say I will. Grace taps her finger on the table. "Can I ask now?" she says. "Wednesday. I have the late shift. Could you get Lucy at 3:15 and keep her until 5? I flip to a fresh page. "Wednesday," I repeat, and check my calendar on my phone. Clinic meeting ends at 3 that day. I can make it. "Yes," I say. "Text the daycare again so they don't act like they don't know me." She nods. "I will." Mom clears her throat. "Grocery list on Thursday?" she offers. "I can Venmo you." "Text the list Wednesday night," I say. "I'll go after work." "You can give me cash when I drop them off if that's easier." She laughs once, short. Look at us. Civilized. Lucy drops her crayon and yells, "Oh! Oh!" like the house needs to evacuate. I pick it up and hand it back. She leans over and pats my arm like I just did something very brave. Sauce streaks my sleeve. We stack plates and wash dishes the way we always have. Easy choreography of passing and drying. Grace lingers by the sink after the water's off. "I really am sorry," she says, too low for Mom to hear. I didn't think. She lifts one shoulder. "I'm paying it, I'll handle it." "I know," I say. "Thank you." On the couch, Mom pulls a zip-top bag of basil leaves from behind a plant that's giving up. "Take these," she says. "They're the last decent ones." "Okay," I say. It's her way of making an offering without making it about money. When I stand to go, Mom stops me with a hand on my wrist. "I'm trying," she says. I know I push. I don't want you to feel like the only adult in the room. "We're all adults in the room," I say. "That's the point." She nods and lets go. "Text when you get home." Outside, the humidity sits heavy and familiar. I drive the 10 minutes back with the AC on low and the radio low enough to be almost off. In my apartment, I slide the basil into a glass of water and tuck the notebook back into my bag. I write one line. "Wednesday, Lucy 3:15, 5, yes." Then, "Thursday, groceries for Mom, yes. List, wed." My phone buzzes. The family group chat lights up with a new message from Mom. "Groceries, Thursday, milk, eggs, salad, toothpaste. Total me after." Grace adds, "Wednesday pickup. Added you with Ms. Carla at daycare." No dots, no hints, no whispers. I send a thumbs up, then a quick, "Got it." "See you both this week." I put the spare key back in the lockbox and spin the dial to Lucy's birthday until it clicks. It's the same sound it made the day I installed it, but it lands different now. Less like a barricade, more like a boundary I don't have to explain every time. Before bed, Shanice texts a single check mark and, "How'd Sunday go?" "We made a schedule," I send back. "No more speeches." "Good," she replies. "Sleep." I lie down and my brain doesn't sprint. The old guilt knocks once, polite and late, and finds the door locked. In the morning, the bowl by my front door will just be a bowl. The car will still be mine. The people I love will still be mine too. Asked for, not taken. Boundaries work.